Hello, this is the Ramblings of an Indisciplined Mind podcast for Saturday, August 13th, 2016. As of this recording, Sierra is still missing. So today's Saturday, and according to the new schedule, that means it's a feedback show. So I do have some feedback for you. Got a few things here. So Gary commented on episode 561, which was the 6th comment show. He says, yeah, I was a little slow in getting my comments in. I always keep episodes on my podcatcher if I want to comment on them as a reminder. Sometimes I listen to them again to remind me of why I wanted to make a comment. Anyway, the movie I referenced was The Girl, the Gold Watch, and Everything. It was a TV movie from 1980 starring Robert Hayes and Pam Dawber. And once you told me that, I was like, yes, I loved that movie. I love that movie, and I think that was part of the reason I had for creating Nuts Relevance PDA. I actually read, I think it was based on a short story. After that came out, I loved that thing, and it sounded familiar when you did it, and I could tell you were making a play on something, but I was drawing a blank. So thanks for the reminder, because that was like a nice little trip down memory lane. I wonder if I can find it out somewhere online, because I'd love to watch that again. That was a fun time. I would sit there and think about, all these temporal mechanics stuff that came up from that. Because if you haven't seen it, this guy inherits an old style pocket watch from an uncle, if I remember correctly. And if you had a special button on it, and if you did it one way, it would pause time for everybody but you. And then I think if you did it another way, like sped up time or something like that. So it really wasn't, time travel in the sense of, like what I do in the Nuts Relevant books. But it was time manipulation, and it was really cool. I know you got to think about, what about if, you're driving and then you hit the button. You've got momentum, but now everything stopped. That seems like a bad thing. I would sit and think about a lot of these things, because it really struck me. That was really cool. That'd be fun actually to revisit that kind of, instead of time travel, time manipulation at some point in the future when I'm not doing space opera. Let's see, on episode 565, Awesome Minecraft Building. This was the episode where I was talking about what Jack Frost Miner was doing. Gary wrote, Minecraft is another game I really enjoy playing. I go a little over the top, since I make rough sketches of what I want to build and work it out on graph paper or Excel spreadsheet before I start building. I found a great tool to help with my designs called www.plotz.co.uk, where you input the size of the circle, over or sphere, and it generates a 2D map of how to build it in Minecraft. That's interesting. My current project is a castle carved into a mountain. The main hall is a half sphere with a 32 block diameter. I'll take some pictures and post the links. Yeah, I'll look forward to seeing that. I just got done building a mine. I've done this before when I'm looking. I was specifically looking for diamonds and lapis lazuli. And so I just built a shaft and just went straight down. I went all the way down the bedrock. And then I marked where I hit those things, and now I'm going to start branching out. And so I basically just have this big, deep hole, and I've got a wood cover over it so I don't have things dropping into it. And I think what I'm going to do, I thought I should put some sort of building on top of it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a log cabin kind of thing. So I haven't started building that yet, but I'm excited for that, because to make something that looks like a log cabin, I think that'll be rather cool. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I want to see your pictures sometime. So please do post those. And then on Ramblings episode 564, RSS for noobs, Gary writes, I use the Podkicker app for my RSS feeds. One of the features I use most is to arrange the episodes I download into a playlist. That way I can listen to your podcast first. Oh, thank you very much. And then the others if I still have time. And that's basically what Beyond Pod does for me as well, is that you have a playlist that you're listening to. And so I do the same thing. Like if I've got a audiobook I'm listening to, or right now I've got a whole bunch of episodes. I get several episodes for How Is This Movie still sitting there. And I think I got a couple for for another one. And then like if Nathan Lowell's comes up, I pop that to the top of the queue because his is daily, and I want to listen to that right away. So yeah, I've not heard of Podkicker, but I may have to. If Beyond Pod starts giving me problems at some point, I'll have to keep that in the back of my brain because it's always good to have a new app, new opportunity. I literally when I found Beyond Pod, and this was 3 years ago, if not more, I literally spent insane amounts of time. I must have tried at least a dozen, maybe a half dozen different podcatching apps. I mean, it was because I couldn't find one that had all the features that I wanted, that I felt like I could work with. So yeah, it's always good to have another one in the back of your brain that works, because you never know when the one you have is going to stop. Let's see, in episode 563, do you smell that? That's the one where I talked about the new rotation of what I was going to do with the shows. He says, change can be good, and I think that is the case here. Looking forward to the new format. At least you know I'll start leaving my comments in a timely fashion. That would be appreciated. For a while there, I thought I was going to do this with one comment. That'll be a quick show. But that's what I got for this week. The other thing I thought I'd share is just kind of to do something fun. I've started a new hashtag on the Twitters. Called SF, capitalized, in 140. Yeah, SF, of course, standing for science fiction. And what I've just done is I've tried to do in a tweet, and I like doing it in Twitter because I like the size constraint. I'm stuck with 140 characters. My hashtag is taking up 6, I think. And what I try to do is write a little science fiction scene or part of a scene. They're not intended to tie together. I'm not telling a story in 140 character increments. It's just, I thought, let's play around with just writing some really micro science fiction scenes. It's something to throw out there. Now, I will say that I just saw somebody this morning that tweeted a Twitter ID called MicroSFF, and they're doing the exact same thing. But that's okay. I mean, Micro SF for everyone, why not? But yeah, I'm doing that. So if you aren't following me on Twitter and want to see that, I'm going to keep that on Twitter. I like the experiment of trying to do it in a small amount of characters, because it makes me really think about what does I want to say, what are the right words I want to use to get across the 2 or 3 sentences I got in my brain that I want to put down. And so I'm exploring different things. I had one that was like a space opera, space battle kind of thing. I've had one, yesterday's was about a love affair between a human and a robot that kind of went awry. I did one that was a time travel one. First one was a time travel one. I kind of had to do that. But I think today's is going to include aliens in some way, shape, or form. I haven't totally decided if it's first contact or is there no humans at all, or whatever. But I'm thinking it's time for aliens today. So yeah, you want to check that out. If you're not following me on Twitter, my handle is EdGizmo, EDGIZMO. Check it out. I'm going to try to do one per day. Is my goal. So I want to throw one out there every day. And the hashtag is hashtag SFIN140, 140. And I was thinking about changing that. I was actually thinking about doing micro SF, and then I thought about tiny SF, which would save me a character. Yeah, you get that way with Twitter. And when I came across the micro SFF, I was just like, okay, obviously I can't use micro SF for a hashtag, and so I think I'm just going to stick with the SF and 140. I do like that. So that's what I'm going to go with. So yeah, keep an eyeball peeled for that. And if you're not on the Twitters, then maybe this will be an incentive to get you on the Twitters. It's a fun place. Anyway, I think that's that. That's that for today. I will be back on Monday, and I'll be talking to you then. So, be seeing you.